Hello, my name is Channin Pelletier and I am the instructor for Waffle Flower Crafts, and I'm here to share some cards with you guys using some new products by Waffle Flower Crafts. So today we're going to do some layered stamping. I have a new stamp set by Waffle Flower Crafts. This is called Carnations. As you can see, it creates this beautiful carnation flower. We have 2 blooms here. And you have, when you get this stamp set, you have a linear image, and then you have 3 layers that you combine together to make the colored sections on these flowers. We're going to get started with layering these stamps. Okay, so we brought over our stamping platform, and I've already positioned the first layer for the carnation stamp set on the platform. I'm now going to ink up this first layer with Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm going to cover all the stamps, and once I've got all these stamps inked up, I'm going to fold over the platform. I'm going to press each one of the stamps to make sure the image completely transfers. Okay, there we go. That's the first layer. Now I'm going to remove these stamps and position the second layer. The stamps are really clearly marked out and organized, so it's easy for you to tell which layer you're going to stamp next. So the B's are all for this larger carnation, and it's labeled B1, so this is the first layer I'm going to stamp for this flower here. And A goes to the forward-facing flower, and I'm going to start with A1 for the first layer. So I'm going to pull off the first layer for these 2 flowers, B1 and A1. I'm going to match up the curves in the stamp with the curves of the already stamped image and look through the stamp to make sure I'm lined up. And I'm now doing the same for this smaller stamp. Now that my stamps are positioned, I'm going to fold over the platform and pick them up. And now I'll move on to my first color for the flowers. The first layer I always like to use my lightest shade. I'm going to be using Tickled Pink. I'm going to ink up both these stamps in the same color. And then I'll fold the platform over and stamp. And there is our first layer. Now I'm going to remove these stamps and position the second layer. Grab the stamps here. I'm going to use B2 and A2. Again, matching up the curves of the stamp with the image. Now fold over the platform. Pick up the second layer, and I will ink this up with my medium shade. And now we have the second layer stamped. I'll remove these stamps and do our third and final layer. So now I'm going to grab B3 and A3. I will position this final layer in. Now that those are positioned, I'll fold the platform over, pick up the stamps. Now this is the third layer, so we're going to use our darkest color, and I'm going to move to a Distress Oxide. This is Candied Apple. This will be a nice darker red. Fold it over. Now we have the flowers completely stamped, but we're now going to stamp the stems. There's this additional layer for these stems here. They are also marked, as you can see. The C indicates that is for this section of the stamp. And then we have a D that goes right here. You can see the little D there for this portion of the flower. I'm going to start with this part of the stem. Line up the stamp. So we have 3 more sections of this stem to stamp. 1 more stamp here, 1 here, and 1 little one right here at the bud. So I'm going to position these 2 more additional stem stamps right over this section of the stem. And once I get it positioned, I'll fold the platform over and pick them up. I'm going to ink these up in Lucky Clover as well. And now we have one more section to stamp, one last section here on the bud. And then fold over the platform. And I will also use Lucky Clover for this last bit. And now we've completed our flowers. I'm going to color this very quickly. I'm going to use a copic marker to do this. While I'm coloring this sprig, you can notice all the buds. I'm going to only color halfway up on these buds so it looks like it is a white flower waiting to bloom. Now with our images stamped, we're ready to die cut them out with the matching dies. We have our die cutting machine here. We're going to position the matching dies right over the stamped image. And I'm going to grab some tape to hold the die in place. Now that we have the dies arranged on top of the stamp images, we're going to run it through the die cutting machine. Now I'll just remove the purple tape. And there you can see our perfectly die cut images. And I will hand cut our sentiment out. So now we're going to cut out a square doily. We're going to use the Lacy panel die to do this. I've got some cardstock here. I'm going to take the die off, center it on the cardstock, then we'll run it through the die cutting machine. And then we remove the paper, and you can see we have this beautiful lacy rectangle. Okay, so now that we have all the die cutting done and our image is stamped, we're ready to assemble this card. We're going to start with this lacy panel. We're going to position it to the left here. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive to adhere this down. Got a little too much there, just going to spread it out with my finger. Place it down. This is an A2 top folding card base made out of craft cardstock. We'll just fold this lacy panel die cut over, crease it there, and then I'll use some more liquid adhesive. Now we're going to add our flowers. I've already added foam tape to the back of all the flowers and even to the back of the sentiments. I'm going to position this sprig first, remove the backing. And now I'm going to remove the backing for this last flower. I do have the foam tape doubled up here on this side. So you can see this flower rests on top of this already lifted up flower. So I need one side with double and then one layer of foam right here. Last thing is add the sentiment. And there you go. The card is all done. Thanks for watching. If you like this video from Scrapbook.com and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happy crafting!